Good evening all. Today NVWR has organized its 80th knowledge session webinar on Ddpi, means Demat Debit and Pledge Instruction in association with CDSL. We thank CDSL who has always been instrumental in clearing and solving various issues concerning compliance of the members. Today, CDSL officials will throw some light on Ddpa, the recent circular issued by SEBI. Now, I would like to welcome our speaker. It's my pleasure to welcome Mr. Nilesh Shah, AVP Operations CDSL, for being a speaker at today's seminar. Now, I would like to request Mr. Nilesh Shah to start the webinar and give their expert views on the subject. Thank you. Over to you, Nilesh bhai.
Thank you very much, Vaibhav, for giving this opportunity to hold this webinar, and all the participants are also welcome. So we will just go through presentation first, and after that, whatever question and answers will be there, those can be put in chat box, and we will go ahead with answering them. So I will just share my presentation. Yes, so today's webinar is Demat Debit and Pledge Instruction. So shortly we will call as Ddpi during the presentation, because like for power of attorney also we are using short term POA. Similarly, he will use Okay, so first we will go with the purpose of Ddpi. So main purpose of the Ddpi is to substitute the power of attorney. So currently for settlement of transaction and margin pledge and other type of transactions also, we are using the power of attorney given by the client to their CM or TM. So for substituting that, this new Demat Debit and pledge instructions, Ddpi, has been introduced. This Ddpi is limited for the settlement transactions and margin pledge transactions only. So scope is limited for this paying purpose and margin pledge transactions only. Apart from that, other type of transactions are not getting covered in Ddpi. One purpose of introducing Ddpi is to reduce the misuse of power of attorney. So currently, apart from power of attorney, there are other modules like physical instruction or EDIS, but majority of transactions are settling through power of attorney. So that's why this has been introduced. And existing power of attorney for the existing clients, means up to 30th June, whichever clients are registered, for them the power of attorney is valid till they are revoking it. So this is basic purpose of Ddpi. Now here are some reference SEBI circulars which are related to Ddpi and power of attorney. Mainly it is related to power of attorney because earlier only power of attorney was there in the function, and Ddpi is only getting introduced now. So first circular was in April 2010. Where this power of attorney to stockbroker or stockbroker and DP has been defined. After that, there were certain clarifications were given on the April 2010 circular, and those were published by circular of August 2010. Then in August 2020, again these POA guidelines were reiterated to all the MIIs and intermediaries and clients. In August 2011 also they have told that power of attorney is a voluntary document and it is not a mandatory document. And in February 2020 and July 2021, in the circular, wherever they have mentioned power of attorney, those can be substituted with Ddpi. So that is why this circular is also in the reference. What are the requirements and applicability for Ddpi? So Ddpi should be adequately stamped. So in power of attorney also currently we are doing the stamping or franking, and then power of attorney is getting executed. Similar functionality will be applicable over here also, that Ddpi document needs to be stamped. Then digital signature, e-signature and wet signature of beneficial owners. So in current power of attorney, only wet signatures were there, while in Ddpi, digital and e-sign are also allowed for the beneficial owners or Demat account holders. This Ddpi document will be additional rights and obligations part. So Ddpi is also not a mandatory, even power of attorney was also not a mandatory document. So if client wishes to give Ddpi, he can give. Otherwise, he may deny also to provide the Ddpi, and he can transact through physical or EDIS mode also. CM2 mention the CMID and full settlement account numbers. So in power of attorney also we are mentioning that we will debit the client's account and it will be credited to exchange pool account or early paying accounts. So those accounts needs to be mentioned in Ddpi also. CM2 sign the documents in similar manner, like power of attorney, how they used to sign. So similar manner, they have to sign e-sign or digital sign for wet signatures. And physical DIS or EDIS, those are still available with the client. And if client doesn't want to give power of attorney or Ddpi, then also they can transact through physical or EDIS. Now this Ddpi is mainly used for, one is margin pledge transactions. Second is settlement transactions. So basically for paying purpose, for debiting the client's account and transferring the stocks to CM pool account or TM pool accounts, this Ddpi will be used. While using the Ddpi, the client-wise net delivery obligation will be provided by clearing corporation or clearing house, and that should be matching with the instruction which is getting executed in the depository systems. Ddpi is not applicable for the transactions like mutual fund, public issues, rights, offers of shares, tendering shares in open offers, and other fund related transactions. So for these type of transactions, Ddpi will not be applicable. Ddpi applicability will be from 1st July for all new accounts, and for existing accounts, if client want to give Ddpi, then he can give the Ddpi, and if he want to revoke the earlier power of attorney was given by him, so that can be done. So for existing account, but for this new accounts from 1st July, this Ddpi will be mandatory to settle the transactions of paying and margin pledge and pledge. Now here is the difference or comparison between power of attorney and Ddpi. So in power of attorney, only wet signatures were valid, while in Ddpi, digital signatures and e-signatures are also allowed apart from wet signatures. So 3 types of signatures are valid here: wet signatures, digital signature, and e-signature. In power of attorney, whatever transaction types are mentioned in power of attorney, those were getting executed, while in DDPI, only two type of transactions can be there. One is margin pledge and another is settlement paying transactions. Apart from that, other transactions are not getting covered. Mutual fund, public issue, rights offers, open offers, and other funds related transactions for primary or secondary market, those were also getting covered in power of attorney. While in DDPI, those type of transactions will not get covered. In power of attorney, for some of the transactions, this matching with settlement obligation was optional. While for DDPI, it is a mandatory matching with settlement obligation, which will be provided by clearing corporation. This power of attorney will be applicable for the transactions mentioned in point number 3 also. And here for DDPI, only settlement and margin pledge transactions will be allowed. Otherwise, no transactions will be allowed. And for any date, account opened with any date. So it can be from 1st July onwards, so it is mandatory only, while for remaining accounts, if client wishes to give the DDPI, they can give DDPI. And after that, if he want to continue with power of attorney for other transactions, he can continue. Okay, thank you. So this is the basic definition of DDPI and difference between power of attorney and DDPI. So now we will go ahead with queries if you have. So here I am just stopping to share my presentation. So chapter. So anyone having queries, they can put up in chat box. Sital, are we getting any queries?
Yes, sir. There is one query I'm posting it.
So first query is that if a client has not subscribed to power of attorney and Ddpi, then a client can transact through broker gives EDIS mandate. Yes, so EDIS and physical option DIS options are already available. And if client has not given power of attorney and also not given Ddpi, then also he can transact through either EDIS or physical DIS. So another query is, can we start taking Ddpi prior to 1st July? तो 1st जुलाई के बाद में भी पहले भी हम लोग ले सकते हैं Ddpi, बट अपने को उसमें लिख के रखना पड़ेगा कि Ddpi इज एप्लीकेबल फ्रॉम 1st जुलाई 2022. आज की डेट में अगर कोई क्लाइंट दे रहा है Ddpi, तो हम लोग एक्सेप्ट कर सकते हैं. जस्ट वो Ddpi में लिखना पड़ेगा कि ये एप्लीकेबल अपने को 1st जुलाई 22 के बाद में रहेगा. नेक्स्ट क्वेरी है, can we execute Ddpi and POA franking or e-stamping in single document? तो ये अलाउड नहीं है. It can't be on single document. Both documents should be separate. In Ddpi, only 2 points will get covered, which has been provided by the SEBI as annexure A. For one is for margin plate transactions and another is for settlement paying transactions. Okay, next question is what would be the stamp duty? तो स्टैम्प ड्यूटी जो पावर ऑफ अटर्नी में एप्लीकेबल है, सिमिलर वे Ddpi में भी एप्लीकेबल रहेगा, एंड इट विल बी स्टेट वाइज व्हाट एवर स्टैम्प ड्यूटी आर देयर, दोस विल बी एप्लीकेबल. Next query है, will the current POA framework will be discarded from 1st July? तो एग्जिस्टिंग क्लाइंट्स के लिए POA के बेस पे ट्रांजैक्शन कंटिन्यू रहेगा जब तक वो रिवॉक नहीं कर रहा है तब तक. और न्यू क्लाइंट्स के लिए 1st जुलाई के बाद में 1st जुलाई से जो भी अकाउंट्स ओपन हो रहा है उनके लिए Ddpi मैंडेटरी रहेगा. अगर उनको सेटलमेंट और मार्जिन प्लेज रिलेटेड देना है तो उसके लिए पावर ऑफ अटर्नी हम लोग कंसिडर नहीं कर सकते. This next query I have received, do we have to take the franking? तो franking करना पड़ेगा जैसा पावर ऑफ अटर्नी में है, सिमिलर वे में Ddpi के लिए भी करना पड़ेगा. Okay, next question है कि in the circular it is mentioned that Ddpi can be signed digitally signed and at the same time it should be stamped. So question is that how we can stamp and e-sign? तो अगर ई सिग्नेचर या डिजिटल सिग्नेचर कर रहे हैं तो ई स्टैंपिंग का फैसिलिटी भी अवेलेबल है और वो यूज कर सकते हैं. तो फिजिकल पेपर भी अवेलेबल है, स्टैम्प पेपर, एंड ई स्टैम्प पेपर भी अवेलेबल है. तो हम लोग ई स्टैम्प से वो स्टैम्प अमाउंट, स्टैम्प ड्यूटी का जो भी अमाउंट रहेगा वो परचेस करके उसके बेसिस पे ई साइन कर सकते हैं. Okay, next query. In case Ddpi agreement is not signed by client, then does the client execute transaction through EDIS? So this question already we have answered that yes, these transactions can be performed through EDIS or physical DIS also if Ddpi is not signed. can POA be continued to use for paying the obligation of margin pledge transactions? तो POA 30 जून तक जो भी क्लाइंट का अकाउंट सेटअप हुआ है और जिन्होंने पावर ऑफ अटर्नी दिया है उसके लिए आगे मार्जिन प्लेज एंड सेटलमेंट ऑब्लिगेशन ट्रांजैक्शन कंटिन्यू रहेगा, बट 1 जुलाई से जो भी न्यू अकाउंट्स ओपन हो रहा है उनका सेटलमेंट ऑब्लिगेशन एंड मार्जिन प्लेज ट्रांजैक्शन के लिए पीओए की बदली में डीडीपीआई देना कंपल्सरी। Can client give EDIS mandate to broker to execute all MF sell and buyback as well? So EDIS currently whatever functionalities are there, those will continue as it is. In EDIS there won't be any change. In DDPI, yes, this MF transaction or buyback transactions are not allowed. Do we have to remove the clause of settlement and margin obligation from the existing POA? Yes, so for all the accounts opening from 1st July 2022, you can remove this clause because anyway, we are not using that clause. Next query is power of attorney will be required after start DDPI or not? तो जो क्लाइंट को ओनली मार्केट सेकेंडरी मार्केट रिलेटेड ट्रांजैक्शन करना है और एक्सचेंज में जो ट्रेड हो रहा है उसके लिए ही करना है, तो सेटलमेंट ट्रांजैक्शन एंड मार्जिन प्लेज ट्रांजैक्शन दोनों भी डीडीपीआई में कवर हो रहा है, तो उसके लिए क्लाइंट को पावर ऑफ अटर्नी देने का जरूरत नहीं है। बट अगर क्लाइंट को फंड्स रिलेटेड ट्रांजैक्शन करना है पावर ऑफ अटर्नी के बेसिस पे और बाईबैक और म्यूचुअल फंड ओपन ऑफर उसका ट्रांजैक्शंस करना है, तो उनको पावर ऑफ अटर्नी सेपरेटली देना पड़ेगा। So next query is, can we take a power of attorney for right issue, MF and other transactions for new clients after 1st July? So it is yes, because those are not getting covered in DDPI. So if this type of transactions needs to be executed, then you have to take power of attorney with this specific clauses. Next is power of attorney would be valid from 1st July 22 for the purpose other than margin pledge and settlement obligation. Yes, so this query we have just answered in earlier query. This is the same. Can we sign physical stamp paper? So ideally, if you are purchasing the e-stamp paper, then you can sign e-sign or digital sign. Or otherwise, if you are taking physical stamp paper, then it will be better that you get the wet signature itself. Will DDPI option be enabled on the easiest? Yes, so this functionalities we are checking. So whatever operational changes or file format changes will be there, those will be communicated to you separately through our communic. With DDPI, will block mechanism be also applicable? So yes, that is also. Can we execute early paying through DDPI? Yes, early paying instruction can be executed through DDPI. Existing POA holder client can be taken DDPI facilities. Yes, if a client want to take DDPI facilities, they can take it for existing clients which are opened up to 30th June 22 also. क्या वीडियो उसमें बटन क्या है? What is the legal backing for stamping the DDPI facility, and what is the rate or amount of franking? So legal backing is that in SEBI circular only they have quoted that DDPI should be also adequately stamped. So SEBI is a regulatory authority and they have quoted in the circular itself. So that will be legal backing. And for rate, currently whatever rate are applicable for power of attorney, the similar rate will be applied over here also, DDPI also. The next query is if broker implement EDIS, then DDPI or POA would not be required to be given by the client as well. Transaction can be accommodated. Yes, so through EDIS without DDPI and POA also this transaction can be accommodated. Whether witness is required on DDPI, so no, witness is not required for DDPI. Does DDPI require stamping? So that is clearly mentioned in the circular. The adequate DDPI should be adequately stamped. So stamping is required. Okay, DDPI format will be available or will make it ourselves. So SEBI has already provided a DDPI format as an Annexure A, and we will be also releasing in our additional rights and obligation document for DDPI format. Apart from that, you have to mention your pool account details over there. And if any other additional details are there which you have to mention, those also you can consider. Can we map DDPI client with old POA ID or need to create a separate ID? So for this, we will release communication sometime for operational modalities. And there we will clarify that whether old POA ID can be used or DDPI. For DDPI, it should be separate. For accounts opened until 30th June, do we need to ask the client to revoke the power of attorney if client want to opt DDPI from 1st July? So answer is that if client is performing only settlement paying related transactions and margin pledge, and his account was opened before 30th June, but after from 1st July onwards, if client comes and he asks that he want to settle the transaction through DDPI, then if no other type of transaction required to be settled, then you can ask him to revoke the power of attorney and give the DDPI. Otherwise, if any other type of transaction needs to be performed, then you can tell them to continue with power of attorney also. Do we have to scrap the system of taking power of attorney? So here the answer is yeah, for all the transactions related to settlement, paying and margin obligations only if client is executing, then you can take only DDPI and POA will not be required. But yes, if any fund related transactions are getting executed or any mutual fund or open offer or tender offer related transactions are there, which currently if you are executing basis on POA, then you have to take POA for those type of transactions. If POA is revoked after 1st July, then new POA and Ddpi will be required for MF buyback margin settlement. 1 second. Yes, so for mutual fund transactions, if you are doing, then POA will be required, and Ddpi will be required for settlement transactions. So in that case, if client is only giving a Ddpi, then you can tell them that to continue with existing power of attorney. But yes, if he is revoking, then you have to take separate power of attorney also. Next question is, do we have to enter pool account details in Ddpi? So yes, those pool account details needs to be entered in Ddpi. Whatever details where you will be transferring the stocks from client account to pool accounts, those all pool account details needs to be mentioned in Ddpi. Is it compulsory for old clients to shift to Ddpi? As it covers all the transactions which client requires to execute. So existing client 30th June 22 तक जो ओपन हो रहा है, और अगर वो क्लाइंट पावर ऑफ अटर्नी के बेसिस पे ट्रांजैक्ट कर रहे, तो उनको एज ऑफ नाउ शिफ्ट करने के लिए जरूरत नहीं। अगर क्लाइंट 1 जुलाई के बाद में ओपन हो रहा है, तो उनको मार्केट रिलेटेड ट्रांजैक्शंस लाइक पीओए सेटल करना है, तो उनके लिए Ddpi लेना है, बट एग्जिस्टिंग क्लाइंट्स को एज ऑफ नाउ शिफ्ट करने का जरूरत नहीं।
Any other queries, members? If you have, kindly just put it in chat. Comment.
So next query is, if early pay-in is before trade made to exchange of share is more than settlement, then so this, I think question is not fully provided.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, I am here. Okay, so first question I will answer. If paying is done before trade made to exchange. So suppose you have done early paying of 100 shares and the obligation becomes only 60 shares. Then we will debit only 60 shares and 40 shares will be released in your account. The same functionality will continue, which is continuing as well. Next question is why is stamp duty or franking made mandatory for Ddpi? This is a big hindrance of client. Hello, am I audible? So I will just repeat the earlier query which I have responded. So if early paying transaction is before trade made to the exchange of share is more than settlement obligation, then what will happen? So suppose you have made a early paying of 100 shares and your settlement obligation becomes only for 60 shares, then 60 shares will be debited from your account and remaining 40 shares will be released in your account. Next query is why is stamp duty franking made mandatory for DPI? This is a big hindrance for the client. If we are looking at is for the client by replacing POA with DDPI, then stamp duty or franking should be done away with. So here SEBI has only put in their circular that adequate stamp duty are required. And of course, SEBI as a regulator, they have put it. So while Ddpi will be more or less similar to power of attorney, that's why this franking is also required. Next question is, what would an existing client give Ddpi if point number 3, mutual fund or open offer, etc. cannot be executed using Ddpi and only through existing POA, then after 30th June 22, why would the client opt for both paying additional stamp duty for Ddpi? So here Ddpi is majority of transactions are happening for settlement purpose and margin pledge. That's why Ddpi has been introduced, and whatever transaction needs to be settled only for these two purposes, Ddpi is required. Only very few clients who are doing this mutual fund transactions or open offer. So for them, if they want to give, they can give additional power of attorney, or if they want to perform any fund related transactions, then they have to give additional power of attorney. That is why for those clients, power of attorney and Ddpi both will be required. Otherwise, they can continue with Ddpi only. Okay, someone has asked what is the logic in having new Ddpi. So that we have already discussed in our first slide only. What are the purpose for Ddpi? And next question is any further plan to include MF buyback or OFS in Ddpi? So as of now, there is no plan to include buyback or MF transactions or OFS in Ddpi. Next question is, do we need to collect power of attorney for those clients who wish to do MF? So yes, if any client want to perform mutual fund transactions or IPO related or OFS or buyback, then yes, you have to take the power of attorney for the type of transactions.
Any other queries?
So someone has asked that why stamp duty is required if there is limited rights. Did depository take some clarification from SEBI? So SEBI has already clarified in their circular itself that it should be adequately stamp duty stamped. And since these transactions are happening similar like power of attorney, so this stamp duty will be required. Someone has put a query that what will be the operational changes in the CDAs post implementation of Ddpi. So for all operational changes or any file format related changes, we will be releasing a separate communique, and there you will be guided that how it will be updated in the CDAs. Okay, someone has asked what article would be applicable for Ddpi. So which type of article, that I'm not clear. Which provisions? Okay, next query is whether the non-POA client doing MF trade will require to do DDPI. So if a client is not doing any settlement related transactions, but if they are performing MTF trades, so those will be on exchange platform. So for them, DDPI will be required. But I think a non-POA means I couldn't got that currently how they are operating. If they are operating through POA for MF trades, then they have to provide a DDPI for settlement transactions.
We will take few more questions and then we will close in some time. So guys, if you have, kindly post it in comments.
Where someone has asked POA article 48A is applicable for power of attorney. So for DDPI, which article is applicable in e-stamping? So that even we need to just check it out. So because currently it is based on the SEBI circular dated 4th April 2022 only. Basis on that, DDPI has been introduced. So whether any separate article is there or not, we are not sure. Okay, next query is whether the non-POA client doing margin trading facility will require to compulsory for DDPI. So this question we have already asked that yes, for exchange related transactions needs to be settled for MTF, margin trading facility. So there,
Sir, your voice is not audible.
Hello. Now it is audible?
Yes, now it is.
Okay. So someone has asked that whether non-POA clients doing margin trading facility will require to compulsory for DDPI. The answer is yes, because margin trading related transactions are getting settled through exchange platform only. So that's why they have to execute DDPI for basically settlement paying purpose, or if a margin pledge or unpledged they are doing.
Any other questions, queries?
Section 48 is permissible anyway. There is nothing in this context in any of the circulars of issued by SEBI.
Okay, someone has asked when we can expect the specific format of Ddpi from CDSL. So that we are already working on it, and we will try to release as soon as possible.
So I think there is not much questions coming in. So can we close now? And if any members, I think Sir has answered all the questions raised by the members. So if any member has any problem or any queries, you can write email to ANMI. We'll answer your queries.
Yes, that can be done.
Okay, so I thank Nilesh sir and all the members who were part of today's webinar. Thank you very much. We are ending this webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everyone, and me as well as all the participant members.
Thank you, sir.